Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film a tag video. And this is the Vlogmagram Tag, which was created by Heather at Soggy Expat Book Nerd and Shawn the Book Maniac. And I was very kindly tagged by Shawn to do this tag, and it's super fun. So here is how the tag works, and I will include all the details down below for all the specifics. But in just a short explanation, Shawn tagged me and gave me 3 questions specific to me to answer, and then I have to tag 2 people and give each of those 2 people 3 questions of their own to ask. Please feel free to do the tag even if you have not been tagged. Just do the questions and then pick 2 people only, to tag and give them 3 original questions. And so that way lots of people get to share in the fun. I don't do Vlogmas videos, but I think that this is an excellent tag, and I did want to join in the fun. So let's just get right to it. The questions that Shawn asked me. The very first question is the maniest thing that I own. So in Maine, if you are from Maine, you are a maniac, and I have lots of things in my house that are Maine related. So I'm going to take you on a little walk around my house, and I'm going to show you 2 things that I think epitomize what it is to be a Maine person. These are probably items that you would not find in a lot of houses outside of the state of Maine, or at least one of the things. So let's just see. I'm gonna take you with me. We're gonna go over here to something that you've seen before in my videos, and let me just turn you around. Okay, these boxes on the wall are blueberry boxes. So these originally, when I was a kid and before that, these were the containers into which, when you harvested blueberries, you would store the blueberries. So Maine is the wild blueberry capital of the world. Where I live in eastern Maine is there's a lot of blueberry harvesting that happens. We have a lot of blueberry fields, and you can see on the side of this bottom box right here the letters NEPCO, and that stands for a company that locally we call NEPCO, and it's a local blueberry company. They are still in business today, and these boxes are no longer used to store the blueberries in. Now they use plastic boxes. This company is Stewart, which I don't think is in business these days, but you can see that it's the town, Cherryfield, Maine, is the wild blueberry capital of the world, the town itself. So there's so many blueberries in that town, and there's so many processing facilities in that town, that it is the wild blueberry capital of Maine. So these blueberry boxes that I use as sort of display boxes for my natural treasures are very Maine specific. And when I was a kid, I did harvest blueberries as a summer job. My grandfather owned a small blueberry field, and we did harvest into these boxes, and I would get $3 for a whole box full of blueberries. Yeah, it's not much better today. All right, so that's one thing. That is my runner-up for the maniest thing that I own in my house. So let's go out here to a room in my house, which is also quite Maine related. This is the mud room. So when you enter my house, you come in through this door and you enter this small room, which is what we call the mud room. And I don't know how typical these rooms are outside of the state of Maine, or outside sort of northern states where you have a lot of snow. But in my state, lots of folks have mud rooms. And this is where you take off all your outerwear and you store it. So when you come in, you're covered in snow or you're all wet. You hang up your jacket, and you have places for your boots, and you have places for your hats and mittens. And you can see I have scarves hanging up and all that sort of stuff. But the maniest thing that I own in here is something right down here in the boot rack. These are my bean boots. So this is the original bean boot made by LL Bean, and they are rubber on the bottom and leather on the top with those typical laces. And this is a very Maine specific shoe. Let me move my husband's gloves out of the way. So yeah, these are a very specific shoe. You will probably have seen them on any advertisements for LL Bean, and I have probably owned, this is a fairly new pair of bean boots that I got a couple years ago, but I probably owned this style of shoe ever since I was a wee child. So everybody around here, most people have bean boots, and they are an all-season boot that you can wear anytime that it's wet weather. But I will say that they are not great if it's super cold out, because they're not insulated. So they're good for wet weather in the spring and the fall, but not so great for the winter. Okay, that's the answer to question 1. The maniest thing I own is a pair of LL Bean boots. And then question 2, what is the worst Christmas present that I have given or received? You'd have to ask somebody else to tell you what the worst present is I've ever given. But for the worst present I've ever received, I would have to say that when my husband and I were first married, and we've been married for like 27 years now. When we were first married, he had an aunt who did not live in the same state that we lived in. And she, every year for Christmas, bless her soul, would give us a commemorative plate from the Bradford Exchange. And I will put a picture up here of what these look like. It was in the collection of commemorative plates that had featured orcas. And she knew that I liked marine stuff, I guess. And so that's why we received these, although I still to this day don't really know why she decided to gift us these. So every year we would get another plate in this same collection. And they were the weirdest thing to get every year. We couldn't figure it out. Eddie's aunt has sadly passed away long ago since then, but I still remember how puzzled we were every year when we would receive yet another one of these plates. And then question 3 is bookish pet peeve. And this is a pet peeve that has been recently bugging me a lot. And that is when books do not have chapters with pages. Like there isn't a table of contents in the beginning with section breaks and the page numbers for where those breaks occur, or there aren't titles to give you chapter titles or section titles so that you can easily, figure out where you are in the book. And this is a pet peeve of mine because I buddy read so much. And if you're buddy reading and there's no way to like divide up the book because you have no idea where the chapters end or where sections end, and it's particularly irritating if you're trying to buddy read a book and you're listening to the audiobook, because then you just have no idea where you are in the book at any given time. So I would like it if publishers would always put a table of contents and, they don't have to have chapter titles, but maybe section breaks or some way for me to divide up the book in a way that makes a lot of sense and is practical and logical. I would like that very much. So that is my bookish pet peeve. Now, who do I tag? The first person I'm tagging is Kim at Middle of the Book March. And I have 3 questions for you, Kim. So please, I hope that you will consider joining in the fun of the Vlogmagram tag. Question 1, you have to fly from Boston to Los Angeles, a cross-country flight. Would you rather have a 10-hour delay in Newark, New Jersey, or would you rather have a flight that stops at 3 separate cities in the United States and it makes you change planes 3 separate times? Please let us know. Are you more tolerant of long layovers in crappy airports, or are you more tolerant of landing and taking off multiple times in one flight? Question 2, show us one of your bookshelves and then show us your favorite book from that particular shelf. And question 3, what is your favorite holiday sweet? And is this a sweet that is particular to the New England area, or is it just a sweet that you like and you have been eating for a long time? Would love to know the answers to those questions. Then the second person I would like to tag in this Vlogmagram tag is Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot. Now, Sandy lives on the opposite side of the United States on the West Coast. So these are some questions for Sandy. Question 1, you are hiking far out in the wilderness and you have summited a small mountain. Unfortunately, all the marked trails that got you up to the top of this mountain have been wiped out due to an unexpected natural disaster. And so you have to get down off of this mountain in a way that you were not expecting. Would you rather rappel down a sheer cliff face to get to the bottom of the mountain, or would you rather crawl through a series of caves to get to the bottom? In one of those caves, you would have to crawl on your belly through a small space, just barely squeezing through. let us know. I'm really interested to hear your answer to that question. Question 2, what is the weirdest regional food in the Pacific Northwest? So what is the food that you think epitomizes the Pacific Northwest part of the United States and is a little bit odd? Question 3, your family has decided to celebrate the Icelandic Christmas tradition of gifting books and reading on Christmas Eve. What book would you like to receive and then cozy up with all evening long? This was a really fun tag. Thank you so much to Shawn for tagging me. Thank you to both Shawn and Heather for coming up with such a delightful idea. I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the holiday season thus far. I'll see you later.